Welcome in to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's Design District. We do this every day. What is this? This is an attempt at doing talk radio in a way that I don't think you're hearing anywhere else. Non-political, non-ideological, fence post, good neighbor. Yeah, I'm going to say things are going to make you mad. You're going to say things in the chat room that are probably going to rub me the wrong way. But you know what? We're not a part of the crazy 30. Crazy 30. 30% of this country has gone off the deep end. 15 on one side, 15 on the other. It's down to us, the 70%. Those normal people who roll our eyes instead of, I'm never talking to you again. We're the ones who can do business, and that's who this show is for. I don't care how you voted. You shouldn't care how I vote. We just talk about the issues as they come up with absolutely zero partisan slant, or at least I hope that way. I mean, a lot of us have lived a life and we've been indoctrinated by our own experiences. And sometimes when we convey those experiences, others will interpret them as to being partisan. I don't know. So be it. If you're like me, I'm all over the road. I don't know where I am. My liberal friends think I'm a right-wing Nazi, and my right-wing friends think I'm a liberal, whatever. I don't know. Whatever they think I am. So this show is for us who believe that's bullshit. We're tired of it. Been doing this show now for 3 years, every day, Monday through Friday, round about noon, a little midday respite for you, if you will. The show is about current events, but only because that's the jumping off point for us to talk. This isn't a news show. You're not supposed to be getting all of your information here. Essentially, what you're doing is you're watching me go through the papers and comment on the things I'm reading. Not particularly schooled in any one area or the other, but I am a normal, well-adjusted, I think, and fully evolved. What? Moderately evolved human being. We do the show, or I should say, I perform the show in what is known as a stream of consciousness, which is just me talking extemporaneously. Now, in order to not completely spin off into the weeds, I've got to kind of break the show into segments. So I know while I'm stream of consciousness word vomiting where I'm going next. The segments we call quarters. The first one we do is a antecedently on this day. It's a look back at the day's history. I cherry pick some events, some things I think are interesting. We talk about it a little, we move on. Quarter two is birthdays, people born on this day. Do we like them? That's what we do there. Quarter three is deads, people who died on this day. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? Then we get into quarter four. Quarter four is the bulk of the show. These are all the topics that everybody's talking about. Now, I'm just kind of try to steer the narrative here away from some of the things that, people are programmed to talk about, like, partisan such issues. Like, I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into much of this RFK Jr. stuff. I don't know. Really? You're going to turn to me, some middle-aged guy streaming in the middle of the day for comprehensive breakdown on what's going on Capitol Hill? I don't think so. I'm not your guy. I can tell you who's weird and who's not. That's me. RFK Jr. is a little weird, man. It's a little weird. All right, so maybe we will talk to him later. Or talk about him later. We'll discuss that. But that's all the news is. I've got the news channels on TV screens here, and all the news is doing is showing this stuff. Like there's nothing else. There is something else, and we'll get to all of that in quarter four. All right. What else do I need to mention? Oh, yeah, this show. Chat room. Hi, chatters. Welcome to the chat room, my peeps. How you feeling, sports bras? CC, Peter, Jeff. We're going to talk about Jeff in a second here. Let's stop. Hold on before I welcome everybody into the chat room. How you feeling, CC? CC's got the flu. That's right. We care about each other. Here. This chat room, we've been together now for 3 years. I mean, I didn't particularly like one another, but we have come to expect the other's presence. So when one is feeling down, we collectively put a good thought in their direction. So good thoughts in the direction of CC. What do you say? We've got an executive producer. That's right. This show, no, we don't do advertising. I don't take any money. I carry no water for no man. But you folks, if you appreciate this kind of talk radio, you are encouraged to drop a tip. That's via Venmo or Cash App. Treat me like I'm a bartender. I'm a pizza guy, whatever. It's how the show's been going for 3 years. It ain't much, but it's a living. No, it ain't even a living, but it is something. And that's how we run the show. That's how we continue to produce this show. If you are the big tipper of the day, at the end of each show, I look and I'm like, who gave what? The big tipper of the day becomes the executive producer. And today we've got one. It's Barney. Barney's our executive producer. Thank you so much, Barney, for thinking of us. Next week is Pledge Week. So we're gonna drive hard next week, but thank you so much. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, the person who tipped the most on today's show, all you got to do is drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. I'll put that up there for you as we start the small talk segment. All right, I gave you the 4 quarters, but we also do a little small talk segment where I like to talk about some things that are just happening in my life. First and foremost, I want to talk about a friend of ours who is he in the chat room? Hi, Mama B. Mama B showing up. I don't see Jeff in the chat room. Hold on, let me make it big. We'll make it big. That's what she said. I love the that's what she said jokes. I will never let an opportunity for a that's what she said joke go by. I just can't. And neither will my son. We're not wired that way. There's Jeff. I see him. Okay. So Jeff had a very interesting question that he posed on Twitter, and I absolutely love this style of Twitter. You know, I hate Twitter. So much so that I refuse to call it by what it's called now. I call it what I called it when I liked it. But I don't like it anymore. I hate Twitter. It's just so gross. It's like a funky strip mall. It's like got vape shops and there's like an office there that you don't know what the hell is going on in that office, but it's an office. And then you can get a massage. And then there's and then it's anchored by a convenience store. But it ain't no convenience store you ever heard of. It's like Quick Stop or, something weird like that. It ain't no 7-Eleven. Bulletproof glass in there. That's what Twitter has become. It's just become a funky shop in a strip mall. It's like those are the kinds of people that I seem to be running into more often. And I'm not here to tell you Facebook's better because it ain't. But Blue Sky is. Blue Sky's like peaceful. I don't got any politics. I don't got anybody doing anything hateful or distracting or anything on Blue Sky. My people on Blue Sky are all like funny. They're all like comics and stuff, and I get cool viral videos. I don't know. But anyway, Jeff asked a question on Twitter. Jeff's still on. Jeff ain't gonna leave Twitter. Jeff loves that. Jeff is like, Twitter has never been better. That's whatever. And that's fine. But I love Jeff. He asked a great question on Twitter last night, and I wanted to share it with you. He had a conundrum. This is the kind of thing I saw it, and I'm like, this is Mansplaining 101. This is a show that Schwartz and I, Dr. Robert Schwartz, Dallas's premier plastic surgeon and noted David Geffen pool boy. Schwartz and I used to do a show called Mansplaining, where we would take, conundrums, social conundrums, lifestyle issues. And I'm telling you, it's the future of talk radio. They didn't think so at the Freak. Well, I mean, it's a long story, but anyway, they were not. That was not a station that was being run at the highest level by people with the most sincere of intentions. I'll tell you that, because they were looking to fail. They were looking to fail and whatever. I believe the whole play was done for the Mavericks. I believe the entire station existed because the Mavericks came on board, because Mark Cuban supported it, and they tried to milk him for everything. I've got theories. Anyway, point is this. Mansplaining was a show, and we used to take these questions. It was kind of like a revamping of the old Love Line. Dr. Drew and Adam, except it was Dr. Schwartz and Pugs. So Jeff asked a question. And the question was this. He said, when invited out to dinner by somebody, so he's in this situation where another couple's invited him. At least this is how it was presented. I don't have the exact thing, but I'll give you the scenario. When invited out to dinner by friends, do you eat very little? This is the assumption that the friends are paying. Do you eat very little? Do you go all out? Or, whatever the choice was. So basically the conundrum was, how do you behave when you're taken out to dinner? Yesterday, I was talking a lot about social credit, about how I just wish that our social credit scores were a real thing and that they could somehow be folded into our financial credit scores, because I would like to get a car one day. That's pretty much the only way, because I know I'm a good person. All right. So, you've been asked out. You and your lovely bride have been asked out to dinner. And the people are like, come on, have dinner with us. Come on, have dinner. I had my treat. I'm paying. So now you're there. And you're like, man, should I just get everything? Like, you're going to get the steak and the lobster because I ain't paying. Are you that guy? Or are you, I'm not going to let another man pay for me. I'm just going to get a salad and drink water. I'll just have water. Thank you. No drinks for me. There's another option you can go with. The option for me when you go out to dinner with somebody is, what is the circumstances surrounding it, first of all? Are you being taken out to dinner because he lost a bet? It's like, if this team wins, you take me out for dinner. If that's the deal, that's one thing. If you're being taken out to dinner because, let's say we're friends, I haven't seen you in a while, let's break bread. Come on. I wanted my treat. Come on, let's have dinner. Or is that the case? Because those are two very different scenarios. If the dinner is owed to you in lieu of some payment or bet or something like that, then I think it would be fun for you to really, twist the screws on them, If it's a bet payoff, it's like, yeah, come on, all right, you're going to pay off on that steak dinner? All right, I'm getting the wagon wheel steak, that's fine. Because then it's fun, it's jovial. I would say in the situation where it's just a sincere offer, come on, let's go out to dinner. I'd love to see you guys. We haven't seen you in a while. Our treat. I think if that's the offer, just be normal, man. Just be normal. Go out to dinner and here's the rule of thumb. Pretend you are paying for your meal. Just go out and just pretend like you are paying for your meal. Treat yourself to whatever you think you deserve. This is not going to be, unless you're friends with assholes, and you very well may be. But nobody's going to invite you out to dinner for a nice, friendly, breaking of bread and then be like, that's your third drink. Nobody's going to do that. And again, unless you have asshole friends. If you got asshole friends, then all bets are off. But anyway, here's my advice. If it's just a sincere gesture of come, let's have dinner, and you're concerned about how you're supposed to behave in ordering, order as if you were paying for your meal. That's all. Make yourself happy. Jeff says, order cheap, order the usual, or go all out were the options. It's order the usual, man. Just be, again, but there are some, things that move the goalposts here. Like, what is the scenario surrounding the dinner? Is it, again, as I say, some sort of obligation? You helped him move, so he's now taking you out to dinner. He lost a bet. Those are two very different things than, hey, man, I haven't seen you guys in a while. We should have dinner. And that's, I think, probably the case. Jeff and his wife seem like lovely people, and I'm sure that. All right. There you go. See, we fixed people's problems. Jeff says we were divided over cheap or usual, and we went with usual. Yes, man. When in doubt, look, this is a great rule of thumb. When in doubt, just be cool. And however you interpret, be cool. I interpret be cool as be normal, because I think I'm normally pretty cool. But you know what I mean? Just be cool. Just be normal, man. Don't enjoy the moment. You're having dinner with friends. Let's not turn it into a thing. Let's not have any angst. Let's not have any tit for tat transactional bullshit. If someone invites me out to dinner, I'm going to dinner. We're going to have fun. And I can see why. I'm going to be a good dinner guest. I'm going to bring up, by the way, also, I do think that the class move, I know a lot of people might not like this. And you may not even get to do it. But the class move is to take care of the tip. And take care of the tip for real. Like, make sure it's a good tip. Like, if you got your dinner paid for by your friend, you say, look, let me handle the tip. You give 25. You give 25 because you didn't pay for a meal. Unless, of course, it was terrible service. But if it was just normal service, that's what you do. That's the class move. Not everybody can pull it off. Yesterday, we talked about people who bring bottles to parties. Hey, thanks for the party. Here's a bottle of vodka. And then the party's over and they're like, hey, where's that bottle of vodka that I bought? Now you're a dick. You walk into a party with a bottle, that bottle stays at that party. I can't believe so many people think it's just perfectly okay. Unless, of course, It is a BYOB. Then it's a different set of rules. Then you brought it to drink for yourself. You're not bringing it as a gift. But if you walk into a party with a bottle and you hand it to the person when you walk in, you just gave that bottle away. You can drink from that bottle at the party. I think that's a rule because you brought it. I might ask the hey, mind if I crack that open? Like, I might ask the person you just gave it to, because remember, at this point, it's a gift that you've given away. Like, I imagine there are some people out there who would do that, and then the woman would be like, no, actually, that's such a nice bottle of wine, I want to save it. And it's on you. Then it's on you to just go, yeah, well, that's what I get for bringing a nice bottle of wine. You don't get to go, but I bought it, because then you're a friggin' heathen who can't be allowed in civilized society. You just gotta, there are rules, man. There are rules to being civilized. And I'm not saying that I've mastered them, but I've been in enough situations where I shouldn't have been, where I've had to learn the hard way on how to behave. Behave normal. If someone's taking you out to dinner, behave normal. God, Jeff did the tip. Class move, man. Class move. Get the tip. Of course you get the tip. One other thing that I wanted to mention in small talk here, and we're going to take a moment. We're going to watch something. We're going to watch something that's going to take a little bit of time. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, my God. Okay. So last night, let's save this. Boom. Here we go. So last night, just as I said I would, I got around to watching on Peacock the Saturday Night Live 50 Years of Music. Now, I think it was Rob, our buddy Rob Barr in the chat room, and Rob is actually in a story that we're gonna do today. You know, our buddy Rob Barr in the chat room, leader, founder, songwriter, singer of super popular Bay Area band Witch Kitty. Yeah. That we got kind of a rock celebrity in our chat room, and you people don't even bow down, but that's okay. That's okay. Rob is also a guy that started an incredibly good veterans charity that I worked for a number of years. He's an old friend of mine from the neighborhood. I was the manager of the first band that I think he was in, because he was a kid, man. And anyway, he's gone on to do great things. He's very, very, very well. He did great things, and he's got this really cool band now that's popping. And they got more local coverage for something that they're doing. So we're going to talk about Rob. But a couple of days ago, I yelled at Rob because, wait, was it Rob who said, look, I don't like the music on Saturday Night Live, which is shocking because he's one of the most advanced musical people that I know. So for him to say that, I was just a little taken back. Maybe it wasn't him, but anyway. And I get that because Saturday Night Live for a lot of the years, like I'd say in the last 15 years, they've become incredibly mainstream. But for the first 35 years of Saturday Night Live, the objective was to break new bands that you've never heard of and to put the weirdest thing on that makes people talk about it on Monday. And hopefully, you do Saturday Night Live, you play a song, and then on Monday, all of a sudden the record stores start selling. And that's always been the influence of Saturday Night Live on American popular music, especially rock and roll. So some people are like, I don't like that music. The Saturday Night Live 50 Years of Music is not just about, the B-52s or Elvis Costello or the Rolling Stones or any of that. It's not just about that. But they do cover every major act that ever appeared on. They do cover that. But it's just as much about the comedy music, the digital shorts, Dick in a Box, Adam Sandler. I had forgotten how musically talented Adam Sandler is. Totally forgot. Anyway, it was so good. And as it turns out, the entire 2-hour documentary, and it was 2 hours after commercials, the entire 2-hour documentary, Saturday Night Live, 50 Years of Music, was created, produced, written, and directed by Questlove of The Roots. Questlove, who is sort of a super producer. This guy did the most amazing job on this documentary. It was unlike anything. I mean, it aired on network television. It was unlike anything of its style that I'd ever seen on network television before. And I want to show you something. I want to show you the opening montage that is blowing people's minds. This is how it opened. I'm going to play the whole thing, man. Just if you got headphones, I'm going to put these headphones on because I need better headphones. But if you got headphones, put them on and watch this. This is the opening from Saturday Night Live, 50 Years of Music. Just incredible. Here we go.
Here we go, 15 seconds back. John Swain. Say it. 3 seconds. 2, stand on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Saturday, New York, jolt of electricity, iconic
musical history, game-changing for a network show.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
Excitement, energy, adrenaline, live.
absolutely terrifying.
Ladies and gentlemen. I'm on SNL and you're not.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's getting hot, so hot, don't take off all your clothes. Oh, bring it down. It's getting hot, so hot, don't take off all your clothes. Bring it down, bring it down. Seesaw swing with the boys in tune, and the feet are down up in the air. Singing hey diddle diddle with the titty in the middle, and he's swinging like he just don't care. So I took a bitch head at the high school with the lady who was ready to play. It wasn't me she was doing, but she knew what she was doing when she told me how to walk this way.
you walk away, but I needed you most. Now baby, 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 I found someone just like you. To take me on my view, come on, to take me along, just like you. I've been dreaming about you, just like you, since you came along. Pressure, under pressure.
Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Pull it out, get the straight. I'm crushing up there. Take the check. I'm crushing up there now. Break it down. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. Hey baby, it's you. Come on, girl, now it's you. Stick your teeth right through my bones, baby.
And it's half over. That's half over. That goes on for another, I don't know how long. It is one of the most incredible. Now, look, I started my radio career as an editor. And I was pretty good, man. I was on a really smoking morning show, and I could cut montages and make really funny music edits, and they were. So I have done work. I mean, I have had people die and then had like 2 hours in a studio with all of their work to try and make a montage. Frank freaking Zappa comes to mind. Frank Zappa. Oh my God. Anyway, so my appreciation for the level of work and time that Questlove had to put in to not only, that is 50 years, hundreds of musical acts that he had to not only listen to, but then figure out how they fit in, how they mash up with other things. And that's just the audio. Then there's the video aspect of it. It's incredible. It is incredible. The 50 years of Saturday Night Live music currently streaming on Peacock is one of the most extraordinary pieces of television production I have ever seen. Ever. And I watch every documentary. It's incredibly cool. It is incredibly cool. So there you go. If you are looking for something to watch, man, oh man, put it on Peacock. I'll tell you, it is so good. You know what I hate about Peacock? I hate how Peacock got the whole, they interrupt you for commercials still. They think like it's 1989, where we're just going to be okay with that. We're not. And to their credit, they give us like a 1-minute commercial. Like every 10 minutes, they'll drop a 1 minute, and whatever. It sucks, but it was so good, this music special, that I didn't mind it. I didn't actually mind it. I was just like, boy, because every time a commercial break came, I'm like, I got to tweet something else about this. So it was convenient. All right, that's going to do it for our small talk segment. What do you say we get started with the show? It is the 29th day of January, year of our Lord, 2025. Yeah, 2025. 29th day of the year. We got that. How many days until the end of the year? Let's see. 336. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's do quarter one. Quarter one is something we call antecedently on this day. I cherry pick events from history that I think I can talk about for a couple of seconds, and we try and fuel this rant into the future. Antecedently on this day, year of our Lord, 1861, Kansas. Kansas is admitted as the 34th state. Welcome to the party, Kansas. Kansas has been trouble. Kansas isn't just like, we like to think of Kansas as just sort of this vanilla blank slate of whatever. Kansas has been a problem for a long time, and I don't even know that they're necessarily a problem now. But we don't really respect them. I'll tell you that. Nobody respects people from Kansas. I don't know why people from Kansas are suddenly catching shade, but I just don't. Look at Kansas's history, especially during, pioneer days and stuff. There's a lot of nonsense going on in Kansas. Whatever. Kansas, you're not pretty enough to be so noticeable. That's the problem. Kansas is not a pretty state. We shouldn't be putting up with nonsense from ugly states like Kansas. Oklahoma is an ugly state. It really is. Oklahoma, but they don't give us much trouble. I don't think Oklahoma gives us the amount of trouble historically as Kansas had. Anyway, on this day, 1861, Kansas becomes a state. Welcome to the party. Behave yourself. On this day in 1886, Carl Benz patents the first successful gasoline-driven automobile. Carl Benz, 1886. Here's a fun thing. There's a couple of things like, oh, by the way, here's something from the Saturday Night Live special. Well, actually, I'll do this first. Carl Benz. Carl Benz. Carl Benz invented the car. Who invented the car? Like before I just told you, you'd be like Henry Ford, or you'd be like, gee, I really don't know. Because Henry Ford didn't invent nothing. Henry Ford invented the assembly line. That's good. He revolutionized the industrial, process and all that. So I guess he did do something, along with hating Jews and minorities. He did contribute something, Henry Ford, but not the car. And I think that the reason that we don't instantly know who invented the car was simply because it wasn't an American. We know American. The cotton gin. Eli Whitney. Cotton gin. Who the fuck cares about the cotton gin? Nobody cares about that. Anyway, and we only learned. This is the thing. We only learned. Shit. That was important to us. And Carl Benz invented the car. There you go. So the other thing that's weird, like here's how these two things tie in. So I'm like, I don't know. I never really thought about who invented the car. I guess I just assumed it was Ford, right? So there's that. But then also, here's something from the Saturday Night Live music special last night that absolutely blew my mind. And I want to hear, all I can expect is honesty from the chat room on this. And look, I know honestly that you don't know the answer. You can't do it. Okay, here we go. 50 years of Saturday Night Live. There is probably no show in the history of American television that has made the cultural impact that Saturday Night Live has over the last 50 years. And the music has certainly been a very big part of it. We sit there, we watch the opening of Saturday Night Live every single week. Saturday Night Live has had the exact same, with a few alterations over the year, but for the most part, the exact same theme song for 50 years that you've seen. Hum right now, wherever you are, hum the theme song to Saturday Night Live. You can't do it. None of us can. I've seen every episode. I consider when they laid that on me on the 50 years of Saturday Night Live music, when Questlove was like, yeah, so hum the theme. Can you hum the theme? I'm like, oh, that'd be easy. I'm like, I don't know where it goes from there. It's just like random horns, and it's Saturday Night Live. None of us can name that tune. None of us. We'd all recognize it. If we heard it, if they played it, we'd be like, that's the theme from Saturday Night Live. But we can't hum it. You can't replicate that song. That's so weird. No, you can't, Peter. Peter's like, yes, I can. No, you can't. You know how I know you can't? Because they talked to like 1 million musicians, and all the musicians were like, they all did some version and then got lost. No, you cannot. Peter thinks he can hum the theme to Saturday Night Live. That would be a good contest. If I was doing more than radio, man. Yeah, hey, line it up, man. Let me hear your best humming of Saturday Night Live's theme. And then that would be crazy good if it were 1993, but it's not. Al, and all you people stepping up now pretending like you know the Saturday Night Live theme. None of you do. If I don't, you don't, and I'm not having it. All right, let's continue. Antecedently on this day in the year 2002, that's right, 1886 to 2002. When you eliminate World War II bullshit, this is what you get. In the State of the Union address, President Bush, W. Bush, describes regimes that sponsor terror as first time we got an axis of evil. George Bush on this day describes the axis of evil as including Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. Antecedently on this day in 2009, Governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, is removed from office following his conviction of several corruption charges. This guy's such a clown. He is such a clown. Oh, my God. Hey, I'll say this, all things being equal, he was over-sentenced. He was way over-sentenced. I mean, not truly over-sentenced. Like, I think for doing what he did, he should get life in prison, okay? But we can't just do that. I think that a public official, an executive of a state, a governor who attempts to mafia-style sell a Senate seat from out from under the people of Illinois, I think that is such an incredibly immoral and despicable act that you should never be allowed. Fuck you, dude. We should kill you for that. That's what we should do. We should have executions for our public officials who end up being corrupt. Let's do that. Then we'll see how much power these people really want. Okay, there you go. Executions for corrupt politicians. Why has nobody ever offered that? I think that might reset the playing field. I think some people might be like, I'm not running next time. Who knows? But he was over-sentenced based on the fact that, like, rapists get 5 years, bullshit like that. He got 14 years or more, or did he do 14 years and he was supposed to do more? Anyway, they finally let him out. It was the right thing to do, but don't go thinking this guy's walking around with a cape. He's one of the biggest clowns in political history. Bloggo. Oh, my God. Anyway, 2009. He's removed from office. All right, let's do birthdays. Here we go. These are people celebrating. I know this because, again, I grew up in Illinois and I grew up around Illinois politics. Here we go. They say it's their birthday. Guanum. They claim it's their birthday. All right. I don't know if it's really their birthday. These are just published accounts. I haven't spoken to their mothers. Born on this day in I gotta do a mea culpa. That's one of the things about this show that make me different from every other talk radio host. When I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I'll be like, oh, I was wrong on that. I was just dumb. I was running my mouth. I hate talk radio hosts. Born on this day in 1843 is a former president of the United States who is in the news today. He's in the news today. He was in the news yesterday. He's been in the news recently. President William McKinley, ladies and gentlemen, born on this day in 1843. This guy, here's my mea culpa. So Denali, the mountain that was called, I guess that for thousands of years by natives, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. This is such a distraction issue. Who cares? So Denali, which I guess before that was called Mount McKinley, and I don't guess because that's what I knew growing up. I think Denali is a recent change. It would have to be a recent change because anything that was changed, these people that get upset at these things, they don't really have long range upset. That's a thing for the Dems. Dems still running around. Free Leonard Pelletier, he got freed, didn't he? Or is he dead? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, point is this. Mount McKinley is now Mount McKinley again. And I went on a little rant the other day about why do we even care? Why does this guy get a mountain? He's like one of the most forgettable presidents. He's never done anything. I can't name one damn thing that McKinley did. So that was my dumbass just a couple of days ago. Turns out, and by the way, it is still inexplicable that not one of you knows anything that President McKinley did. Not one of you. Well, maybe one of you. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? I'm speaking broadly. We don't popularly know who President William McKinley was. He's forgettable. And I got to apologize because he's not forgettable. He's actually real important. He was actually a really good president. Well, a lot of people thought so. Other people thought corrupt. But you know, whatever, it was the time. He was elected twice popularly. But here's the most confounding thing about President William McKinley. Nobody ever mentions him when we talk about presidential assassinations. President McKinley died the same way Lincoln and Kennedy did. He was assassinated while in office. We never even, I know every time I read that, I'm like, oh yeah, he was killed too. And yet for some reason, Lincoln is like, we all know, and Kennedy, we all know about. McKinley, not so much. We go straight from presidents who've been assassinated. Well, you got Lincoln, you got Kennedy, Reagan got shot, and Ford, they tried to, that's it. No, McKinley got killed. McKinley got shot and killed. Anyway, give the man a mountain, all right? Jeez Louise, seriously, I will now advocate for Mount Denali, which the other day it may have seemed like I was advocating for it to be Denali or actually not really caring at all. But I will make the case that it's probably been called Denali by people way longer than it's been called McKinley. So by that argument, traditionally, what is it known as? Who cares? Whatever. I'm not going to have this argument. It doesn't matter. That was me a couple days ago. Today, let's call it McKinley. Let's call it McKinley, and let's let people know that he also got killed in office and that he's deserving of at least our regard and a mountain. There you go. I did always wonder why there were so many McKinley schools, though. You ever notice that? Like, it seems like there's a lot of schools named for this guy, but we don't really know why. It's because he got killed. And I'm like, oh, yeah. All right. Good for you, President William McKinley, born on this day in 1843, born on this day in 1880. Now, I got a great list of American frauds. I don't know if I'm going to consider this guy a fraud in the way that I consider people like Bob Hope, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, John Wayne to be great American frauds. I don't know if I consider him here. I consider this dude to be in the category of person that I also include dudes like Milton Berle, Steve Allen. Yeah. These are the people who were just standing near a camera when somebody turned it on. That's this category of highly venerated celebrity that we have, cultural icon in this country. So we got some who I think are frauds and some who I think it was just convenient. They were there. W.C. Fields fits that mold. I think there was like 3 actors in the world and one of them did comedy and that was W.C. Fields and that's how he became famous. because he happened to be standing near a camera when they turned it on. W.C. Fields, born on this day in 1980. You think I'm kidding? Watch some W.C. Fields. Watch some, dude wasn't funny. He wasn't. And again, I suppose I'm blinded by the cultural awareness of the era in which I came of age. So maybe his stuff seems very dated. I understand that because my son and I have been watching. We do this thing on. Oh my God, we invented this game. All right, you want to hear the game we're playing? Okay, so Peacock has all 50 seasons of Saturday Night Live, and my kid is very interested in the different eras of Saturday Night Live. So we play this game where he gets a random number on his phone between 1 and 50, and then and does it again for 1 and 23 because there are 23 episodes in a season. And anyway, we would watch season 31, episode 15, just randomly. So we're doing that. So we're watching a lot of old things, and I do get upset when he sees things that I think are so funny that he doesn't get it all. I'll give you an example. John Belushi's samurai character. Now, my kid loves Belushi. He loves the Blues Brothers. He loves Animal House. He loves all that. He doesn't get the samurai character. He's like, Dad, why is it funny? Look, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why it's funny to me and it's not funny to you. And he's not a jerk about these things. We talk deeply about how the sausage is made when it comes to comedy and stuff. So, I trust that he's being, legitimate. Anyway, I don't get W.C. Fields. I think he was just standing near a camera when they turned one on. And that's why we know who he is today. This next dude, I consider an absolute hero of mine. One of my favorite writers, screenwriters, one of the great, not one of the great, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Paddy Chayefsky is the greatest screenwriter in the history of Hollywood. A couple of his things. I'll read a little bit from his paycheck. I was going through his filmography. Paddy Chayefsky was an American playwright, screenwriter, and novelist. He is the only person to have won 3 solo Academy Awards for writing both adapted and original screenplays. He was one of the most renowned dramatists of the golden age of television. His intimate, realistic scripts provided a naturalistic style of televised drama from the 1950s, dramatizing the lives of ordinary Americans. Martin Gottlieb wrote in All His Jazz that Chayefsky was the most successful graduate of television's slice of life school of naturalism. So he came out of TV in the 1950s, and he just there was a lot of stupid shit on TV in the 1950s, but the stuff that was, considered classic, almost all of it, came from Paddy Chayefsky's brain. All these playhouse things with fancy actors doing these. Here, I'm going to give you an example of some of the things. What do we know him from? Because he got into movies. Let's see here. Paddy Chayefsky. Okay, Marty. Marty was you ever seen Marty? Ernest Borgnine plays a retarded guy. It's an amazingly good film. Oh, so good. How about Network? Do you people like Network? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That is Paddy Chayefsky. Hospital, Altered States. You guys, if you ever seen Altered States, that is one of the most underrated films of all time. Altered States, so far ahead of its time. Anyway, he's also one of them dudes, Paddy Chayefsky, born on this day in 1923. He died of cancer. Died of cancer very young. That's why, his shit kind of ends in the 70s. Born on this day in 1945, I think he's a top 5 pick in any mustache draft, right? I guess it would really depend on what generation is involved in the mustache draft. But I think if it's a Gen X or a millennial in the mustache draft, I think that Tom Selleck is absolutely a top 5 pick. Whenever we do a mustache draft, I always get very provocative from the very beginning because my first pick in the mustache draft is a mustache that was so powerful and so important that it is never worn anymore. And that's Adolf Hitler. I go Adolf Hitler, number 1, first pick in the mustache draft. Then, of course, Burt Reynolds, Raleigh Fingers, Selleck. There you go. Selleck, number 4 in my mustache draft. Can't do Chaplin. I'd love to do Chaplin, but I can't do Chaplin because I've already done that mustache in the form of Hitler. And with all due respect to one of Hollywood's great comedic geniuses, Charlie Chaplin, Adolf Hitler was a little bit bigger. So he's a little bit more famous than you. He made the mustache a little. He took it. Charlie Chaplin invented the mustache, but, Hitler took it and ran with it. And by the way, I've always thought, do you think Hitler wore that mustache that way? Because at that time, Charlie Chaplin was the guy who wore that. And Charlie Chaplin was considered the funniest person in the world. I have a theory that Hitler chose to wear that mustache because he wanted people to think he was funny. That's what I think. He's a monster, but I think he was like, all right, people think I'm a monster. I got this weird haircut and this crazy over-the-top speech pattern. What if I, do a Jim Carrey haircut? Or, like that was his thing. Like, he's trying to cool the room. It's like, look, I know you're all scared, but check it out. Charlie Chaplin mustache. Tom Selleck, born on this day in 1945. Guys, I hope you appreciate that. What that just was the height of bad improv stream of consciousness. That's what that was. I never had that theory about Adolf Hitler before. I just ran with it. It just came up and I went, hey, that's kind of, and it was next. And that's what you get here. Nonsense. Born on this day in 1950. This is someone we're going to have to check out. We're going to have to check this one out. This is for us Gen Xers. You guys remember Ann Jillian? You guys remember Ann Jillian? Got a very complicated kind of feeling about Ann Jillian. Ann Jillian was a chick who was on TV shows in the 1980s. She was never known for any one TV shows, although I guess you could argue It's a Living was the thing that she was on the longest. But Ann Jillian was kind of like the female Ted McGinley for about 15 years. If they added Ann Jillian to your show, that show was about to be canceled. But it doesn't matter because for some reason we enjoyed her. And I enjoyed her. She was very nice, Ann Jillian. Blonde hair, attractive, but here's where it got complicated for me. Ann Jillian was the aunt of my friend growing up. Yeah. Yeah. And Ann Jillian kind of popped onto the whole scene right around the time when maybe our young hormones were starting to bubble over and I'd see Ann Jillian on TV and I'd be like, oh, wait, that's Joe's aunt. I can't. This is weird. There's pictures of her in his house, like at birthday parties and stuff. Anyway, you guys remember Ann Jillian? This was her. I mean, I never met her or anything, but here, let's check her out. I don't know if she was hot. Was she hot? She always kind of played a hot woman, but okay, here you go. Ann Jillian, ladies and gentlemen, whatever happened to her, huh? Right now, Gen X is like, yeah, that's a good question. And some millennials are like, yeah, good question. But like most people are like, no, I don't know what that is. She was cute. Look at her. She's cute. Oh, well, hey, we all age. Look at that. Life right there, baby. Life. Ann Jillian. I thought she was dead. Turns out she's not dead. She had breast cancer. And that's the last I tracked of her. That was like back in the 90s. Turns out she's alive still. And good for her. Ironically, my friend Joe has passed away, which is weird. All right, there you go. Ann Jillian, happy birthday. She didn't really do anything. I mean, she was around for she was everywhere for like 10 years in the 80s and then nowhere. Ann Jillian. Here's somebody who also from Chicago, who kind of made it a little bit bigger, although also arrived in the 80s and exploded. Happy birthday, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, born on this day in 1954. Kevin Barber, is he in the chat room? Is KB Artist in the chat room today? KB was famous for like a couple of weeks because KB got on the Oprah Winfrey show and I think he asked Arnold Schwarzenegger a question. We all watched it and we're like, yeah, Kevin, you're such a dork. I think he was dressed, if I remember correctly, I think he went to the Oprah Winfrey. Is KB Artist here? He's got to make himself known before I start telling these stories. I'm pretty sure that he went to the Oprah show when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the guest and asked a question and got on TV while dressed like Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice. Is that right? KB's here. Look at him. Did you go on Oprah dressed like Sonny Crockett? You did. And weren't you with Rick Perovich? And was he the one dressed like Sonny Crockett? Because you might want to claim that. I don't know. Who do you? Kevin, tell me, who did you go? Because I don't know why I didn't go. Why didn't I go? Why didn't I get to go? Anyway, why did you go to the Oprah Winfrey show and not take me? Is my question. Why did you take Rick Perovich? The hell is that? All right, I know this is very inside. this is very inside Pugs teenage years. Mama B, oh my God, more from Pugs teenage years. Mama B checking in. Mama B says, I beg your pardon. Marty was not retarded. Is not good work. I'm sorry. He was of average intelligence, socially not savvy, with half self-image issues. He was a hard-working, kind, and I believe the average man. Okay, hold on. Time out with my conversation about Kevin Barber. I'm going to let him now. I'm going to let the delay catch up, and he can explain his actions on Oprah Winfrey when he dressed as Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice. I would like to address this situation here with Mama B concerning Patty Chayefsky, the writer of Marty that we're talking about. Patty Chayefsky is one of my favorite writers. Patty Chayefsky said that he was retarded. Not retarded. I know that's with all due respect, Mama B. I try not to use that word, but I do think it's a word that, I mean, isn't that what it's called? My point is this. I am so glad to hear that you appreciate Marty. I am so glad that you and I can sit and watch Marty together and be like, isn't this a wonderful movie? But I think Marty was slow. Marty was, you know what? Out of respect for 40 years of knowing Mama B, I am going to, longer than that, I'm going to rewatch Marty. I'm going to rewatch Marty, and I will let you know. I always believed that Patty Chayefsky thought he was, or made him, but I could be wrong. I will research that. All right, now back to Kevin Barber, who I remember, and isn't it funny how we remember things? I remember him showing up on Oprah Winfrey, and I think he was wearing a white suit, like white pants, white jacket, and like a salmon-colored T-shirt. I don't know. Hold on. Let's see what KB Artist says about his Oprah Winfrey appearance on this Oprah Winfrey's birthday. Hold on. It's going to take a minute because I have to scroll through the chat room on a different page, and it's almost never where it is on this. Oh, for crying out loud. All right. Kevin says, I asked if Arnold used a stunt double for love scenes. Oh, yeah. That's right. Kevin tried. He was like, I'm going to be funny. Kevin was very funny. Kevin is very funny. Well, I don't know. You might suck now. I ain't seen you in 40 years, 35, whatever. Kevin was very funny. So I'm sure he went up there all like, but address the thing. Were you dressed like Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice? I believe you were. All right, hold on. Kevin does confirm that Rick went, but he ain't saying anything about how. Oh, Kevin says Rick had the Miami Vice suit. I was dressed like Duran Duran. Okay, all right. That's it. You were wearing those black pants and that white frilly pirate shirt, weren't you? You were wearing the Seinfeld pirate shirt on TV, and your hair was like all Duran Duran out. I remember you. I see you in 1986. But the question stands. What the fuck has Rick got that memory with you for? Why isn't that me? What? Why is Rick in all of our memories together? Didn't Rick go with us to see Springsteen in Indianapolis? Not that I have a problem with Rick, but it just seems so freaking random from my childhood. You guys have any of that? You guys have any of these memories, these like really strong memories from your childhood, and then yet there is like a co-star in this memory who you're like, that's random. Why is that guy in my memories forever? Kevin says Rick had the Miami Vice suit. I was dressed like Duran. I just love that because that is, now I'm seeing it. All right, let's get back into it. Happy birthday to Oprah. Thank you for creating memories for all of us. Born on this day in 1954, Oprah Winfrey. Born on this day in 1968. Here, we're going to do a little listen on this one. Edward Burns. Edward Burns is born on this day in 1968. Excuse me. Clearing my throat for this because it's important that you hear my mellifluous tones. So Edward Burns is a favorite of mine. I like Edward Burns. I know Edward Burns. I've interviewed him a whole bunch of times. Had an incredibly incredibly weird experience with Edward Burns once, and I'll tell you about that as well. But first, before we get there, he's an actor. I don't know if he's all that famous, but he's good. I like his writing and his directing, which he did a lot more in his early days. Now he seems to be doing TV more, but whatever, cool. Got to pay your bills. He's a pretty cool guy. He is a really cool guy. Everybody tells me that I sound like Edward Burns. We did this, Kelly and I did this once on the air when we had him there. And at that time, we did sound very similar. Well, our voices. And that's an important thing, because I'm like, my voices always suck. And he's like, my voices always suck. And I'm like, why do our voices suck? He's Irish Catholic. I'm Irish Catholic. The way he talks. And by the way, it's not only tonally, it's also like the way we talk. But he's New York. I'm South Side of Chicago. There's going to be some crossover, some urban kind of stuff. And also there's the Irish Catholic background. We grew up hearing people with Irish accents, and that's influenced the way we talk in some circumstances. Anyway, same with Mexican people. Like, I have Mexican friends who are like second, third generation, but you hear their accent and it's because of their grandma. It's because of her or whatever. It happens. It happens. We're a melting pot. That's why we have different dialects. So here, let me play this. Let's listen to, you guys tell me, I want the chat room to tell me, and then I'll tell you about the weird encounter I had with Edward Burns. Here you go. This is Edward Burns. You tell me, does he sound like me? And the reason I ask again is because, voices change. People get older. I mean, you hear people speaking voices over the course of years. So here's a relatively new version of him. Well, I guess it's relatively new. I don't know if Conan's still on. It's not. It's probably 5 years old. Anyway, here we go.
The cops on the show, on your show, they arrest a lot of hookers. Yeah. That's part of the program. And that's actually something that was part of your dad's job, too. And it almost feels like it's kind of a formality, because the prostitutes know that they're going to get picked up. The cops know where they're going to be. Is that right?
Yeah. And apparently, back then in the early 70s, there were so many prostitutes on basically every street corner in New York. Like, my dad had his old arrest records, and I would go through them, and there wasn't a neighborhood where there weren't dozens of arrests every month. So because of that, I guess the arrangement was, all right, they'd pull up to this corner and there'd be 15 girls there, and they'd say, all right, girls, we have to take 2 of you. Which 2 is it going to be? And they would figure it out. Right. Depending on who went the night before, and the night before that, and the night before that. And then depending on what time of night it was, if they knew they were going to miss night court and the girls would have to spend the night in jail, then sort of the arrangement was, we'll take you out for a sandwich or a hot dog or a meal so you could at least eat something before you.
All right, there you go. Professional reviews. Ed Burns celebrating a birthday today. Does he sound like me? I mean, you don't know what you sound like. Like what I think I sound like. Well, although I have a bit different perspective on that because I've air checked myself so many times over the years. I do have a good idea of how different it is between how I think I sound and how I really sound. I don't know. Al says yeah. Peter says no, not really. Okay, there you go. Peter says he's got more of a dialect. Yeah, but you know what? You've never been around me when I'm drunk. When I'm drunk, I go real south side. My friend Aaron always points it out. He's like, okay, all right, you've had enough, because I sound way different. My accent, for what it's worth at this point, is incredibly toned down after years and years of working in, mainstream broadcasting and living in Texas. So, I think, you'd hear me if you were to hear me like back in 1993 when, in Chicago or something like that, like on the radio, you'd probably hear this. You'd probably hear this. You'd probably hear that. Kelly too. Kelly used to, Kelly sounded like a chick like this too. But, you change. So anyway, yeah. So here's the weird situation I had with Ed Burns as we celebrate his birthday. So my girlfriend, back at a specific time, I don't know, we were in LA. This is probably back around 2005, 2006. We were back in LA, and we have these exemption lists, your sexual exemption lists that we used to do every year. And my girlfriend at the time, Tammy, she had Edward Burns on her list. She, and you allow it because there is no chance that they're ever going to meet Edward Burns, you know? I mean, you know, that's why you do the celebrity exemption list. Except for the fact that, you know, she was dating me and I knew him. And, you know, it's just, I had been, you know, I'd interviewed him and we were friendly. We knew who we were, both from Chicago and from Dallas. So anyway, he's on her list and we're in Hollywood and we are walking down Sunset in Hollywood. It is me, Tammy. And by the way, here's why this is so scary. Tammy was beautiful. Tammy was a beautiful woman. You know, she really was. You know, I've been lucky to outkick my coverage a lot, but as far as like, you know, just pure beauty, you know what? I'm not going to go any further. Anyway, the point is this, you know, when that's the case and someone has a sexual exemption list, the odds are amped up that if she were to meet him, he might actually take her home and sleep with her. And, you know, like me, like I got Scarlett Johansson on my list. Okay. I don't know what circumstance it would take for me to bump into Scarlett Johansson and have any chance of having sex. It's probably not going to happen. She's got Ed Burns. She's a hot girl. Ed Burns would probably have sex with her. Anyway, moving on. So we're walking down Sunset. It's me, her, Kelly, my partner Kelly at the time, and whoever Kelly was dating. I don't think it was Tyson. I don't know who it was. Rob, maybe. Anyway, we're walking down the street, two couples, and we see someone heading towards us. And I'm kind of in the front of this little gaggle. And as they're getting closer, I realize that it's freaking Edward Burns. And my girlfriend who has him on the list, who looks smoking, because we're going out for a night in Hollywood. She looks smoking. And I'm like, and I panicked. And he walked by and we walked past them. And I didn't say anything and he didn't make any eye contact. It's like, you know, you don't recognize people on there. Or maybe you do, but whatever. He wasn't looking to stop or anything. And I wasn't looking to point it out because I knew that he was on her exemption list. So we walk past each other and we get about, you know, we're moving apart. He's moving this way. We're moving this way. So we get probably about 20 yards and Kelly stops dead and goes, "Oh my God, Edward Burns." And I'm like, no. Thankfully, Edward Burns just turned, and at this point, he was probably far enough away that he just thought it was rando tourists, and he's like, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" And he just kept walking. I'm like, "Keep walking, dude. Keep walking. We're not gonna go out for drinks with Edward Burns. It's not happening." I was really panicking. I'm not joking. I know it sounds like I'm being, but I'm like, this is a situation. This is a Curb Your Enthusiasm situation. I am literally at risk of having my girlfriend cash in on her exemption list if she wanted. And because, you know, later that night, I believe I thought you said you knew him. Why didn't you say hi? Didn't you see him? And I'm like, I saw him. Why didn't you say hi? I wasn't. Edward Burns is having a birthday today. Happy birthday, the great Edward Burns. Born on this day in 1970. Heather Graham, Roller Girl. We like Roller Girl, right? Roller Girl from Boogity Nights. Born on this day in 1977. A guy that I do not know. I don't know this guy, but apparently he's super famous because he's the star of a show that was super popular that I never watched. I never watched. I don't even know what it's called. One of Us. One for All. Who? Brothers and Sisters. All right, this is it. This is me trying to describe this show that was a phenomenon for NBC. I know it's on NBC. It's I think it's called One of Us. It's about brothers and sisters who are alcoholics, and one of them's black, but he's not an alcoholic. Fat girl. There's a real heavy girl on it who's really funny, and that's nice. What show am I talking about? The dude's name is Justin Hartley. I don't know who he is. I know he's really famous, and he's from my hometown, and everybody in my hometown is like, good, do you know Justin Hartley's famous? I'm like, I don't know who Justin Hartley is. What's that show called? Dinner for Us? This Is Us. There it is. Yeah, that's a big show. That's like a serious cultural blind spot that I possess. That was a massive show for like a decade. Those people are all stars. Those people, I don't know who Justin Hartley is, and he's like from a couple blocks away. I have no idea. All right, but happy birthday to you, Justin Hartley. You were born on this day in what year? 1977. Let's move on to the dead. So let's talk about people who died on this day, people who died, whether they go into heaven or hell. That decision rests in our hands. Hold on a second. I'm having an issue. There we go. Boom. Heaven or hell. Let's do this. Dead on this day in 1977. Oh, man. Right out of the box, we got to open this can of worms. A lot of people aren't going to like what I'm about to say here, but it's the cold, hard truth, and it's at least how I feel. Dead on this day in 1977, Freddie Prinze. Chico of Chico and the Man. He's not, what did he do? What was his slogan? He had a slogan. Everybody was given a slogan back then. If you were to be funny, you were to be given a slogan. Like Jimmy Walker had Dynamite, right? And but Chico had one too. Anyway, Freddie Prinze died on this day in 1977. Freddie Prinze, whenever he's talked about, he kind of falls into the Sam Cooke kind of category. Freddie Prinze is always talked about as being this incredibly bright flame of comedy that was extinguished far too soon. And it is, of course, a tragedy. It is a tragedy how he took his own life. It is a tragedy how that story ended. But I don't think we've ever really talked about the story of Freddie Prinze through a lens that isn't, designed to bolster the narrative that he was some mythological comedy figure. Freddie Prinze was made a superstar at like 18 years old. He was a kid. He was a kid that was put on the biggest stages in the world by the people who could put you there. You got to remember that back in the day, 1969, 70, 71, that period, the networks decided who was famous. There was you didn't have an Instagram channel that just suddenly and organically got you 23 million people in your daily audience. There were 3 networks that decided who got to be famous on television or famous in, whatever, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And around this time, there was incredible racial pressure on Hollywood to start to integrate a little bit more, because up until this point, Hollywood had really only dabbled with black characters on television. They had completely ignored Latino characters. And this was sort of their idea to give white American television viewers in Iowa and Nebraska and all that, give them Latino. So they created this show, Chico and the Man. I think Chico and the Man is an embarrassing show. I think that I think that Freddie Prinze was anointed at a very young age because somebody saw him in a club and decided that he's going to represent the entirety of the American Latino population. We're going to put him on Carson. We're going to whisper in Carson's ear, hey, call him the greatest ever. The machine that makes stars created a massive star out of Freddie Prinze. He wasn't ready for it, and he wasn't deserving of it. Freddie Prinze was not a great comedian. Freddie Prinze was not a great actor. Freddie Prinze was great looking. He was a good looking guy. And they decided he fit the suit, and he just couldn't handle it. The stories about Freddie Prinze, man, he was not a good person. He was mean. He was kind of crazy. He was out of his mind on drugs. There's some story about him trying to murder John Travolta. Some story about a crossbow. I don't know if you know this story. Freddie Prinze got high on drugs like months before his death and decided that John Travolta, a young John Travolta, a non-famous John Travolta or somebody, I think it was John Travolta, was like, hooking up with some girl that Freddie had laid claim to. So Freddie went over to his house with a crossbow, or his apartment, and shot a crossbow through the door. And he did crazy things. And I think it's a real tragic story. And when people talk about Freddie Prinze, they don't talk about it being a tragic story other than how it ended. The tragic story for this dude began when he was forced into the spotlight, unprepared, unready, immature, and then the entirety of the established Hollywood comedy world decided to start going around saying he's the greatest there ever was. That kind of pressure, man, I'm telling you. Of course he fell into drugs. Of course his light broke. His light burned out 4 years in. I mean, what a sad story. I'm going to put Freddie Prinze in heaven, but God, this is a sad story. All right, here we go. How about this guy? Dead on this day in 1992. I'm also putting him in heaven. He is absolutely one of the greats of blues music. Willie Dixon. Hoochie Coochie Man. Born on this, I'm putting him in heaven, right? Yeah, Willie Dixon. Born on this day in 2009, Elio Gracie. Elio Gracie. Elio Gracie was a Brazilian martial artist. Died on this day in 2009. He's the reason we know Gracie do jiu-jitsu. To a greater extent, he's the reason like jiu-jitsu or BJJ is something that, like, you know, every D-bag that you run into in a club is, you know, practicing. You want to go, man? You want to go? You know, all of these idiots. Well, they're all due to this guy. So Helio Gracie's going to hell. The founder of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He birthed a generation of douchebags. He's going to hell. Helio Gracie. Dead on this day in 2009. Dead on this day in 2002. Howard Hessman. I'm putting him in heaven. Dr. Johnny Fever, are you nuts? That dude was awesome. Dr. Johnny Fever. Howard Hessman. Let's talk about Howard Hessman. When he took on the role of Dr. Johnny Fever, he was already well known in American comedy circles. He was a part of the committee. I think he was a part of the committee, but what else? He was a part of some of the West Coast's most in-your-face, cutting-edge comedy troupes and movements of the 1960s and 70s, of like the hippie comedy scene. Howard Hessman was an absolute madman. The guy that we see on WKRP in Cincinnati as Dr. Johnny Fever, and then later on Head of the Class, that is different than the Howard Hessman. Howard Hessman was wild. I loved him. Howard Hessman. Dead on this day. We're putting him in heaven. All right, that's going to do it, folks. I think that's it. Those are the first 3 quarters. I want to once again thank our executive producer. Today's executive producer is the magnificent Barney. Barney. Thank you, sir. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the big tipper on today's show, the guy who tips the most. Treat me like I'm your bartender. Treat me like I'm your food delivery guy. You can do that by dropping something in the Venmo or the Cash App. All right, 3 quarters in the books. We got a long way to go. We've already been on the air for an hour 15. We got a long way to go. I'm going to spill over. Call the networks. We're going to run late today. All right, here we go. What's Al talking about? Al says Ricardo Montalban was Hispanic and cool. So was Ponch on Chips. Yeah. They were both cool. They both came after Freddie Prinze. Name one before. Name a significant Latino character from television before Freddie Prinze. He was the first. And by the way, here's the other thing. You go back to Freddie Prinze. His stand-up, when I judge his stand-up, when I say that he's not that funny, I don't know that that's necessarily an indictment on him, because Freddie Prinze did ethnic humor. Freddie Prinze got up and did "My Puerto Rican Mama." That was Freddie Prinze jokes. Let me tell you about being a Puerto Rican gypsy. That was his routine. And he got up there with his handsome in his tuxedo. I'm Latino, and he did a whole bunch of ethnic humor. His jokes were all written by white guys. His jokes were all written by Hollywood comedy white guys who write for Milton Berle and who write for... That's who took Freddie Prinze over. That's why he was so miserable. He wasn't allowed to do his act. He hated being Chico. He thought that was an embarrassment. That was what a bunch of white Jewish comedy writers thought white Americans in Iowa wanted to see from a Latino presence. Yeah. Ricardo Montalban was definitely a step up. Ricardo Montalban, smooth ass, large, in charge. But they gave him an Irish name. He was Mr. Rourke. And that's an Irish name. And then Ponch. Ponch, I think if we're gonna talk about Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rico, Cuban, whatever, we want to talk about those people in their representation in American network television history, I think the breakthrough is Eric Estrada. I think it's Ponch. Ponch was finally somebody of that ethnicity who we all wanted to be. Everybody wanted to be Ponch. Are you kidding me? I'm a ruddy fat Irish kid on the south side of Chicago watching Chips going, I don't want to be John. Nobody wanted to be John. I wanted to be Ponch. And that's where you start to have the importance of cultural influence, right? That's where Good Times is another example of that. As a little kid, Good Times was the first show that I saw a whole bunch of black people, and I was like, I want to be their friends. You can't underestimate that connection in young people and just, I mean, you don't. I know, especially MAGA. MAGA doesn't underestimate that because they've been blaming Hollywood for going too far for a long time, and I don't think they're altogether wrong. But Hollywood's been playing this game forever, trying to, and never forget. By the way, Adam Rainey says Santana. He's a musician. And Al says Desi Arnaz. Desi Arnaz was not the star. Desi Arnaz was Kramer. They made Desi Arnaz Kramer on Lucille Ball. Desi Arnaz was the guy behind the scenes that was doing all the business. And if you talk to Desi Arnaz, he was marginalized by the bigwigs forever simply because they didn't do business with non-whites. Lucy was the baller. When Desi brought Lucy in, these dudes had to negotiate with Desi. Desi was incredibly capable, but Desi was marginalized. Desi was not, and Santana was a singer. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's Eric Estrada. His portrayal of Ponch, although again, wasn't his name Poncherello? That's an Italian name. I don't know. Interesting conversation though. Interesting conversation. Yeah, and Peter's like, Desi Arnaz, dude. Desi Arnaz, the show was not built around Desi Arnaz. He was not the star. He was the extra. He came with the superstar. And the only reason he was there was because the superstar, Lucille Ball, said he could be there. He wasn't there because Hollywood wanted to put a Hispanic man front and center. That was where Freddie Prinze came in. Freddie Prinze decided, or Hollywood decided it was time, and they built Chico and the Man for television viewers in Indiana. It was written by a bunch of white Jewish guys who'd been writing situation comedy for 15 years, and it came out the piece of shit that it is. Important? Yes. Important, like in the first time a Latino man was featured as a star of a TV show. Important? Yes. But that's where it ends. It ends after it's the first because all of the content was less than admirable, let's say. Okay, let's keep going. Where are we at here? I forgot what I was saying. I was, by the way, I was on to something else. I was like, and then I got distracted by the Santana content. Hollywood too, movies. I don't know who was the first guy that was allowed to be a leading man, A-list movie star who was. And honestly, I'm kind of enjoying doing this, trying to remember who, because after Ponch, what did you have after Ponch? After Ponch, 1978 to 82, something like that, Chips. What did we have on TV? I don't know that we had another really cool Hispanic leading man or woman on TV until Jimmy Smits, Law and Order. Jimmy Smits on Law and Order was pretty cool, man. That was another really cool guy that everybody could look at and go, I want to be that guy, and not be like, I don't want to be him because he's not, He was a great representation of, that community. Better than Chico. I mean, come on, man. Chico he was lazy. When have you known a Hispanic man to be lazy? I have never seen a lazy Latino man. Chico was lazy. Chico was always trying to get out of work, and the man was always catching him doing some nonsense. It wasn't exactly what it's been portrayed historically. Chico and the man. All right, moving on. Oh, I need to. John Leguizamo. Adam Reyna offers. Yeah, but he wasn't until the later 80s. And he was film. Yeah, he was someone that they put in movies, and he's a super talented guy. And his whole act was, very Latino based, like his one-man play that sort of got him noticed. So yeah, John Leguizamo. But again, that's after Punch. That's way after Punch. Let's try to think of anybody else. But think about that. Think about it's 2025. I make no distinction. This sitcom's got another Latino guy on. I don't even know. We don't even notice anymore. And yet here we are looking at a 30-year period between the year 2000 and 1970, and we've come up with Chico, Punch, and Jimmy Smits. That's it. That's it. All right, let's go. Let's do quarter four. Let's get into the hot topics and all this stuff because I got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. Our top story, eggs. Eggs are apparently the top story. They're real expensive, and I don't eat them, so let's move on. RFK Jr. We'll talk a little bit about this. So he's up in front. He's secretary position, Health and Human Services, right? HHS secretary. His confirmation hearing is today. People who are on one side are like, you're the best, so brave. People who are on the other side are like, you're fucking nuts, man. And, we're left here in the middle to go, okay, whatever. I will say this. I saw him and Bernie Sanders. Or I should say, I saw Bernie Sanders. Man, I loved me some Bernie Sanders today. Bernie Sanders, he just, and I'm not a Bernie guy, never have been. I've always been like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I liked him today. Bernie Sanders kicked the shit out of RFK on a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And he did not answer the questions well. He was very hamina. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's going to get confirmed. This is all just theater. But it was fun theater watching Bernie Sanders. I have never in my life seen somebody flip so quickly on such a foundationally important issue. Because I guess RFK Jr. went from being pro-life, or pro-abortion. He went from being like pro-choice to like as soon as he got into like Trump's cabinet like 3 months ago. Now suddenly he's pro-life. It was very funny. He's like, how can we trust you? And I'm like, okay. Bernie's gonna die soon, but man, oh man, there's gonna be a supercut of that old man losing his shit on people after he dies. That's gonna be great. What else do we need to mention about the RFK thing? We got Cheryl Hines from Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's married to RFK Jr. She's there. She's behind him. She's taking some heat online. Again, she's taking heat online from people, you either love her and think that she's great, or she's a crazy bitch, that whole thing. So whatever, very, very divisive. Here's what I'll say about her. Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of my favorite shows of all time, and it only got better when they kind of removed her. I'll say that. But I've always been, I've been pretty consistent on this. My whole take for the 20-year run of Curb Your Enthusiasm was that he is not married to a supportive woman. She was a bitch. She was a total bitch. And he was just, obviously, he was, a bit impulsive and, says the wrong thing from time to time. But what you're just finding this out now, Cheryl, you married him. He courted you. You said yes when you learned he had that Seinfeld money. And now you're going to be like, yeah, you're so irritated. She was a bitch. She was a bitch of a wife. And when they finally got divorced, I was like, good. And then they even wrote her character as doing something really despicable, which is as soon as she got divorced from Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm, she began dating Ted Danson, who was Larry David's friend, which is absolute bullshit. And that they mined that for a lot of, episodes in Curb Your Enthusiasm. I never liked her on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I didn't think she was funny. I thought her family was hysterical. Her family. Whenever her family, there's a couple of episodes. There's a great Christmas episode where Cheryl David's family, fictitious family, comes to visit in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and her sister is Caitlin Olsen, Dee from It's Always Sunny, and she's exactly like Dee from It's Always Sunny. It's very funny. Anyway, she's taking a lot of heat, and it all depends on whether or not you like her. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't depend on whether or not you like Cheryl. It depends on whether or not you like Trump. She is being crucified right now. Cheryl Hines on the Twitters and all these places. She is being crucified, not based on anything having to do with her, except, whether or not you like Trump or not. If you like Trump, she's a hero and she's a brave wife, and this is what all women should be. Stand by your man, # whatever. If you don't like Trump, she's a MAGA crazy person, no talent, blah, blah, blah. All right, there you have it. That's all I got for you. His cousin Caroline turned on him yesterday. Did you see this? I'm not gonna play any of it, but don't gloss over this. This was done for a reason. John F. Kennedy's sole surviving daughter, little Caroline. Little Caroline dropped a letter yesterday to the Senate concerning her cousin, RFK Jr., who she's known her entire life. And she went hard. She called him a predator. She blamed him for introducing drugs to an entire generation of Kennedy cousins and kids, describing his dorm room, basement, garage, and bedroom being the place where all the Kennedy kids would go and do drugs. And I mean, she went hard, man. She went hard on her first cousin about what a terrible person she thinks he is. First cousin. This isn't like, maybe your first cousin is somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. These are Kennedy cousins. Okay, these are children of the heroes. These are the children of the two Kennedys who are carved into mountainsides, RFK and JFK. There's a lot of bullshit Kennedys out there. Don't get distracted by them. A lot of people running around with that name. There are two that matter: Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy and John Fitzgerald Kennedy, RFK and JFK. And these are their children. And their children don't like each other. One child, Caroline, she blames RFK for exploiting the death of both her father, his uncle, and his father, her uncle. And like I said, she went hard. Doesn't think he's the right man for the job, and she let all the family dirt out. Now, here's why this is important or interesting, or however you want to phrase it. Don't jump down my neck, throat, because I chose the wrong word there. The Kennedys typically don't, rat on each other. They typically are thick as thieves. But what is most shocking about this, and by the way, the Kennedy family has written things and posted things and all of that as the Kennedy family, through a spokesperson about him. But it is rare that an actual Kennedy, we'll get to that in a minute, an actual Kennedy of heft and weight comes out and publicly says, I'm sticking my name to this. My cousin's a douchebag. Okay. Caroline Kennedy doing that is huge because you don't see Caroline Kennedy much. Caroline Kennedy has never sought the spotlight. She was a quiet ambassador to both Australia and Japan for a period of time. Other than that, you know nothing about her. You don't even know her name. Her name isn't Caroline Kennedy. She hasn't been going as Caroline Kennedy in 30 years. And you don't know that because Carolyn Schlossberg isn't famous. But that's who she is. She's never sought the spotlight. She has never gotten involved in all of these things. She never even spoke on her brother's death, JFK Jr. I mean, she did have a slight public role, as I say, as ambassador to the two furthest places away you could go. Ambassador to Japan and ambassador to Australia. She's never sought the spotlight. So it is kind of interesting when now, after all of this time, Carolyn Schlossberg is now coming out and talking about her first cousin, RFK Jr., and saying some crazy stuff. Now, I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm saying that's heavy. I'm saying that is family heavy. They are a tight family. And also, I think it needs to be mentioned that this person, Carolyn Schlossberg, the daughter of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, she is the top Kennedy right now. She is the top ranking within that family. It's Caroline Kennedy now who is the boss. There's no Rose. There's no Teddy. None of these people are around anymore. It's the next generation, and she's the queen. So for Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg to do this, I mean, oh my God. Interesting. Love the family feuds. All right, let's go. How about this? How about a little Dallas mayhem? Did you see this? Dallas, downtown, the CVS, which at one point was my CVS. The one on Main Street there, 1200 Main. That was my CVS. I used to go there all the time. Some kids were shoplifting. Now, this is interesting because, you know, we see these kids that are just the brazen attitudes of these kids. Just the way they go in, they just steal and they walk out. Why do they do this? Because they know that the security guard isn't there to stop them. The security guard there is to look like he might stop them. But when you look at these corporate ideas and, you know, their policies with these, with regard to these loss prevention issues, yeah, they're not allowed to get involved. That's why you see the security guards, because insurance. Oh my God, what if they're not hiring the best people for security, right? So you can't be 100% sure that that person's not going to fuck up the wrong person, and then CVS is going to end up in a $50 million lawsuit because some idiot who got beat up by some dumbass security guard is now, you know, blind in one eye. So they don't do that. So they got to hire the security guard because they got to have a security presence, but they know that the security guard isn't like the cream of the crop human. So they don't let him touch anybody. They're like, don't touch anybody. The security that they're hiring is the liability in the decision to just let people steal. They're just, they're supposed to be a deterrent, nothing more. Why doesn't security do anything? Well, maybe this, because on Friday night in downtown Dallas, the CVS in the 1200 block of Main Street had an incident where two kids, 13 and 15, I believe are the ages, They jumped out of a white Kia sedan, burst into the CVS, began filling their pockets and coats with all kinds of things. The security guard intervened. Security guard got involved. 13, 15-year-old just stealing stuff from the CVS. Security guard got involved. He's dead. He's dead now. Yeah, because they just pulled out a gun and killed him right there. And so he's dead. Victim has been identified in downtown CVS store shooting. 2 juveniles are in custody. Dallas Police Department confirms a shooting at a CVS in downtown Dallas left one person dead late Friday. A man died after a Friday night shooting at a CVS in downtown Dallas. The Dallas Police Department told WFAA that the officers responded at approximately 11:05 p.m. Friday evening for a shooting call in the 1400 block of Main Street. Why do I think 1200? When officers got there, they found a man had been shot. The man, later identified as Anthony Iganu, 39, was transported by Dallas Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he died. According to DPD, 2 juvenile boys, a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, were shoplifting at the CVS. The 13-year-old tried to run out the back door, but it was locked. And when he tried to run out the front, Ugioni, he's the victim, the guy who's dead, Ugioni, a security guard, stopped him from exiting. The 13-year-old eventually pulled away from Ugioni, pulled a gun, and then shot him multiple times. Both juveniles fled in a white Kia sedan. That white Kia sedan was later spotted the next morning around 9:41 a.m. near Commerce Street and Lamar. The 15-year-old suspect had backed into a bus and then a pole before being taken into custody by DPD. Mayhem on the streets of Dallas. 13, 15-year-old strapped, rolling around downtown in a white Kia. Security guard stops him, and then he just shoots him dead. I don't know. All right, there you have it. Dallas-Fort Worth represents. All right. That's a terrible story. Hey, here's one. So this goes on. We've been talking about Google's new rules and labelings and all that. Oh, let's do it. Hold on. Google promised that they were going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And as of yesterday, when we tried it live on the air, it was still the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico. We needed to say we wanted to say Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico. All right, let's see if they've changed it yet. Here we go. There it is. Gulf. God! Stop it, Google! Oh, Google, you're nothing but a map tease. That's what you are. Big old map tease. Getting us all excited. All right. So I don't even know if Denali's been relabeled. They said that they were going to relabel the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That was 2 days ago. I don't know how long that process takes, but it ain't happened yet. And Denali is going to be reverted back to being called McKinley, which, by the way, happy birthday, William McKinley. We talked about him earlier. I'm for that now. I'm like, give that man a mountain. He was assassinated, and we don't even know that. We just think of Lincoln and Kennedy. We don't know that there was a third U.S. president assassinated while in office. McKinley give him a mountain, is my point. All right. So, wait. What is this? Hold on. Is this a thing? All right, I might be stupid. Well, not might be stupid. I mean, I am stupid. Let's not kid ourselves. But is this new? Is this new? Gulf of California? Is that new? Do you see that? Is that always been a thing? Am I getting excited about something that's always been a thing? Because I'm stupid and I don't know stuff. And when I learn stuff I should know, I get excited. Has the Gulf of California always been a thing? Because I'm liking it. Never noticed before. Anyway, moving on. Google is back in the news. Google Maps are back in the news, which is weird. Like, I don't think Google Maps have ever been in the news before, but here we go. 2 days in a row, big stories that we're all interested in, especially this one. Google Maps is back in the news today because they have reclassified the United States. I don't know what this means. I'm just going to read it to you, and then we'll try and figure out what it means. Google reclassifies United States as, quote, sensitive country alongside China, Russia. Okay, here we go. So okay. I don't know what this is. Google has like some list of advisories, I guess, on countries. So like if you're going, and I guess we never had a advisory before. And now, all right, I'm going to read it to you. Google's Maps division on Monday reclassified the United States as a sensitive country, a designation it reserves for states with strict governments and border disputes. The decision to elevate the U.S. to its list of sensitive countries illustrates the challenge tech companies face in navigating the Trump presidency. Google's list of sensitive countries. All right, are you ready? Here we go. All of a sudden, we're in this group. Jesus. Woo! Let's go. All right, so all of a sudden, according to Google, we're in this group. China, sensitive country. Russia, sensitive country. Israel, sensitive country. Saudi Arabia, sensitive country. And Iraq, sensitive country. And now, joining the party, we at the United States. I don't know what that means. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. All of those countries have good-looking women. I'll say that. There you go. It's the hot chick category. What else do we have? Oh, did you see this? All right, here's a hashtag going around. We're all supposed to get involved in this. Let me tell you something. I've been doing this for 3 years. 3 years now I've been doing this. So whatever, join me. I'll be a leader. I will happily become a leader of this movement. No skin off my nose. I mean, I'm already in on this movement. There is a movement taking shape called No Buy 2025. No Buy 2025. Yeah, it's going nuts on the TikToks, on the Instagrams, all over where the young people with influence are. What is No Buy 2025? It is a pledge to buy absolutely nothing outside of essentials in 2025. You're not buying any furniture. You're not buying a new TV. You're sure as shit not buying a house or a car. You're not buying anything. No Buy 2025. Now, as I say, I've been adhering to this for non-political reasons for about 3 years now. I've been living exclusively on Netflix subscriptions and bargain food, bargain meat. Think I'm out here rolling around buying new cars and shit? No, I can barely afford the oil changes, but you better believe I'm getting them on time because I need this thing to last. I've been engaging in No Buy 2025 since 2022 easily. All right, so here we go. Here's what it is. Instagram, TikTok, and other social media sites are usually overwhelmed by people showing off what they bought. But this year, people are pivoting to something else, displaying how they're buying nothing. The No Buy 2025 trend encourages people to purchase as little new stuff as possible. Some people make lists of specific items they won't purchase, while others vow not to buy any non-essentials. All right, that's my team. Come on over to my team. We're buying only essentials. Gasoline. Pot. But you need something, okay? It's cheaper. Seriously, it's cheaper than booze. Like food, like Kroger bargain meat. No, see, you people can't keep up with me. I'm way ahead in this group. I'm really hardcore, only essentials. All right, anyway, let's keep going. The No Buy 25 trend encourages people to purchase as little new stuff as possible. Some list specific items they won't purchase, while others vow not to buy any non-essentials. While it's occurring on social media, it has a very real life reason for catching fire. There have been 2 years of higher prices and rising levels of debt for households. There was also a shorter holiday season that felt rushed, where many Americans on the lower income end cut back aggressively. I will say this, you know what? This Christmas season did feel rushed. It really did feel rushed. It felt like it was just Halloween. And now we're coming up on Groundhog's Day. While it's occurring on social media, it has very real reasons for catching fire. There have been 2 years of higher prices, rising levels of debt for households. There was also a shorter holiday season that felt rushed. Instead of needing to have the latest and greatest viral products, people are finding it's better to focus on what they already own. Okay. A very nice description of No Buy 2025 that absolutely left all the politics out of it. And I thank them for that. Because this is all political. These are all anti-Trump people who are like, let's not buy anything and tank the economy, which, that doesn't sound good for the rest of us. I don't know. I think I'd like to see him. I don't care who's behind, the Resolute desk when America's economy starts kicking off. I really don't. See, this is where you people are just drunk on stupidity. You people care who the president is, what party he belongs to when the America is doing great. You people actively root against Obama and Biden. And then you people on the left, you are rooting against Trump or Bush or whatever. That's crazy. My God, you people are broken. You should be upset when the monthly numbers are down across the board, irregardless of what party is in the White House. Because that's bad for us, man. That's bad for us as a country. I don't know. Whatever. Buy what you need. Don't buy. Look, I am participating in No Buy 2025 until further notice. For totally non-political reasons. Let's keep going. My God, you guys, did you see this? Oh, God, this is going around. It's a big story. We lost a fighter jet yesterday in Alaska. F-35, $80 million F-35 crashes from the sky at Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska. The pilot survived. We got video of it. It is pretty incredible. I mean, watch the pilot who ejected. The pilot You'll see him. You'll see his chute deployed, and then his plane is just spinning out of control. And I'd be like, my plane's going to run me over. I ejected, or my other fear with this, when the plane, because the plane's going to hit the ground before you with the parachute are. So when the plane hits the ground, it's going to explode into a bunch of flames. And sometimes those flames cover the size of a football field. What if my parachute drops me in the middle of those flames? I don't want that to happen. I don't know. I guess it's any port in a storm if you find yourself in this situation. Let's look at this. This is just incredible. This is yesterday again. $80 million. Oh, here, look, we're already seeing it. See, there's the parachute and there's the plane. That, by the way, the plane's not going in that direction. It's just the plane is actually whirligigging. You'll see. All right, hold on. Here we go. See, now look at him. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to land in that. See, like right there is where I'm like, oh, how do I steer this thing? See, look at him. He's like, how do I steer this thing? Oh my God, terrible. Well, everybody's okay. You know, our tax dollars, 80 million right there. That's okay. We're making up for that every day. We're making up for that in school lunches. That's all right. 80 million right there. Don't sweat it. School lunch program, 15 million. That we made a priority. 80 million right there. No biggie. No biggie. God. Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, how about this? Hey, did you see the new White House press secretary? Huh? It's like everybody who hated Karen Jean-Pierre is now like, oh, this one is the greatest ever. She's hot. I like her. She's cute. I'll take bad news. I'll take lies, deceit, propaganda, whatever. I'll take it from her. She's got a cute little wry smile. She seems evil. Don't get me wrong. And I'm really put back, by the way, and watch this every single time now for the rest of forever. As long as she holds this post, she's going to be showing up with that Jesus on the cross front and center, really big. That always bothers me. That in the flag pin. I'm like, you guys are trying too hard. You know what the cool move? The cool move with the cross? Catholics, we wear the cross. You know what the cool move is? You wear the cross underneath what you're wearing. Why? Because Jesus didn't want us proselytizing. We wear our cross underneath our clothing close to our heart, Catholics, because that's where we find Jesus, in our heart. Not you people. What's up with you? What's up with you other people? Look at my cross. I like Jesus. You know, stop it. Jesus wouldn't like that. He'd be embarrassed. The great Bill Hicks joke, right? You think Jesus, if he were to come back, you think he wants to see himself on everybody, hanging from everybody's neck? No. That's Bill Hicks. That was a joke. I butchered it. You hide the cross. So I don't like that about her. That's some of this evangelical Christian bullshit that, I put up with because, half my friends are in that group. But whatever. I just think it's, It is true, though. I am consistent with that. I do not like politicians who flagrantly exploit the flag because they're only doing it for the optic. They're doing it so that somebody stupid, not you, not me, but somebody stupid, and there's a lot of stupid people out there, they're doing that so somebody stupid, I don't know what's going on, but that guy likes America like me, so I'm on his team. That's why they do it. I'm sorry to be so cold about the truth there, but that is exactly why the flag pin picked up. Nobody wore the flag pin until after 9/11 when there started to be a divide as to how to manage the whole Afghan-Iraq situation, right? That's when all of the people, all the hawks started wearing the flag to remind you that we're doing this not because, we want war, but because we love America. And that's what it was. And it stuck around. And in the last couple of years, we've started to see it more now with the cross. Now we're seeing the same thing that was done with the flag pin being done with the cross. These people are flaunting their Christianity, which I would just be mindful of the fact that I think Jesus was on record as not being a fan of that. Again, the no proselytizing thing, but whatever, you guys do you. You guys do you. What do I know? Just raised in the Catholic Church, raised in Catholic schools, all of that nonsense. I mean, let's be honest. We're the real Christians. I mean, we're the ones who got the original recipe from Jesus himself. Jesus, like, slid the rules to the Catholic Church, and the Catholics were like, well, really? This is really what he said? All right, let's go with it. And then over, like, the centuries, a whole bunch of other people who were like, we think Jesus is cool, too. But they were like, but we don't like your rules. So then you have all these other things. So I don't know. I don't believe in any of it. I think it's all show pony nonsense. Aside from the fact that faith does bring a lot of people peace, and life is hard and people need to find whatever it is that they can to get them through, right? I mean, you know, people who pray, people who go to church, all of that. I don't see that as any different than people who do transcendental meditation or practice yoga or any of that stuff. It's all about getting your head right, and whatever it is that you need, that's fine. That has always been my take on this. But the Catholics got the hard Christian rules. The rest of you people, just made it all easy. I went to a church with my friend a while back just because I wanted to check it out. Goes to one of these evangelical things. I walk in, there's a dude with a ponytail playing guitar. I'm like, what the hell is this? Where are the scary penguins dressed from head to toe in like American burqas? That's what like nun outfits are. I'm like, where is the torture porn? That's the thing I don't get. Every Catholic church I've ever walked into, there is just blatantly depicted some of the most magnificent torture porn artwork you have ever seen. Every Catholic church's chapel depicts in some way, through mural, stained glass, or just pictures, they depict what Jesus went through. And it's brutal, man. And I can tell you as a kid, being like 9 years old, like looking at this giant 10-foot tall painting on the wall of Jesus all bloody, lugging that cross, being whipped, and the crown of thorns. It was brutal. It was brutal. Not exactly a dude with a ponytail playing, some Maroon 5. It was, I don't remember what he was playing, but he was playing like a pop song. What the fuck is this? Again, I don't go in for any of that stuff, but I can see why that stuff catches on. I can see why the Catholic churches are having a hard time filling the pews while, across town at the mega church, they're doing a rock concert. I get why. Excuse me. Who's this? Exotic Mortar. Yeah, well, we got one of them lurker in the chat room. I welcome lurkers. All right, let's keep going. What else do we got here? Oh, here's some big news. Oh. Wait a second. I just got totally off base. I was talking about the new chick, the new spokesperson chick. She's like 17. She's really cute. She's like cheerleader girl, whatever. Seems like she's got a chip on her shoulder. Okay, so let's move on. So here's something that she did do. She did this. This is very cool. She opened up the books on the drones yesterday. The drones, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the New Jersey drones from December? We were all obsessed. Half the idiots out there are like, the space aliens. And, it's China. And then you had actual politicians, elected officials going, I heard from forces that it's a Iranian mothership and it's off the coast. This was an elected official. This is a senator, I think. God, we got to find these people's names. But no, it's okay. You can say that. You can say whatever you want in the moment to get your clicks because we're too stupid to remember who said it. Like, look at me. I'm like, what senator said that shit? Because if you remember, we played it. And at the time, I'm like, let's not forget this guy. Let's not forget this guy. This guy is telling us, the American people, that he, as a U.S. senator, has heard from his sources, and he has sources because he's a U.S. senator, that it's an Iranian mothership, and we should all be very scared. And I can't remember who that son of a bitch is. At the best, he's an incredibly stupid man. At worst, He's using his power and platform to scare and frighten the people of the country that he has sworn to serve and protect. Bullshit. Anyway, apparently, this chick, I don't even know what her name is. Is it Caroline something? Is it the new White House press secretary? I don't know. She comes out and she's like, oh, I'm going to tell you about the drones. And here's what she said. She said, regarding the New Jersey drones, yeah, they're nothing. And everybody was like, Trump opened the books on the drones. We finally know about the drones. We don't know anything more. We don't know anything. I've been telling you for months that they are us. I've been saying the issue isn't that these are space aliens or that they're an invading force. You people who think that are dumb, okay? These are obviously ours. They're being allowed to fly up there. I've been saying this for months. The question is, what are they doing? If they're ours, what are they doing? What are they looking for? That has not been answered. No, what we got was, I mean, my God, it's like this is how the levels of stupidity in this country. We here, the Denzians of this chat room who watch this stream every day, are we just really like another level up as far as being smart and as far as paying attention? Because I don't think for any of us the question was, are they aliens? The question for us was, what the fuck, man? People are saying dune buggy-sized drones are flying 100 feet over their homes. Is this true? And if so, what are they doing? That was our question. That was not answered. Here's what we got. The mysterious drones that caused alarm among many New Jersey residents last year were in large part authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration, the White House said Tuesday. Yeah, we all kind of fucking knew you guys were in on it. Nobody thought you weren't in on it, except the stupid people who thought it was aliens and an invading army. All the rest of us knew you were in on it. We knew that it must. Our question again was, what are you guys doing? That's our question. The mysterious drones that caused alarm among many New Jersey residents last year were in large part authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration. The large number of unexplained nighttime drone sightings in New Jersey and other East Coast states created a panic, which at one point shut down an airport. Carolyn Levitt's our new little cheerleader, a little cheerleader from the podium. Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary, now says, this was the big divulge that we're all like, thank you, Mr. Trump. Oh, God. Here's the big divulge that she said from the podium. She says, she says, many of those drones were authorized and are known by our government. So the big dune buggies, the big dune buggy sized minivan sized drones that were, buzzing people's houses and all the videos that we see that shut down some airports. Just you saying that was us. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We kind of knew that though. What were they doing? And that's where they won't tell us. It's like, okay, so what are they? Are they military? Are they security? She really is. She is making this announcement from a position of you people think it's boogeymen and invaders. And I'm going to tell you that it's not that. Read the room, man. The room isn't that stupid. The room just wants to know what was the reason for this, because quite frankly, there's a lot of people out there saying it's pretty scary shit. Like, they're searching for a lost nuke, which would be a reason you wouldn't tell us what they're doing because you wouldn't want panic. Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary, says that those drones were authorized and known by the government. Quoting here, after research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Levitt said that the issue grew worse due to curiosity. Yeah, because the things you were doing was weird. So back to that. What were you doing? We want to know. What was that about? Now, here's what you can say. You can say, you guys, it's like high-tech military defense drone stuff. We can't tell you what we're doing. And at that point, we'll all go, cool. All right. That's all it takes, man. These people are so duplicitous all over. It doesn't matter. The Biden administration had a month to say that. And all they did was, we're going to ask Congress to investigate. You know what's going on. You are deliberately misleading and compounding the confusion surrounding this story. Never forget, Admiral John, whatever his name was, the guy who's Pentagon spokesman, Kirby. Admiral John Kirby, whatever. He was on CNN every day. Well, we're taking this very seriously, and, people have a right to be concerned, but we don't think. Why are you saying that? Why are you saying that people have a right to be concerned when deep down what you're not saying is, we know exactly what this is. This is a defense measure. Just say, it's our defense. We got sloppy. You saw us. All right? Don't worry about it. America. That's all they got to do. Anyway, people are going to try and tell you that, yeah, we know what those drones are. If somebody says that, go just in the back of your mind, go, oh, this is a stupid person who thought they were aliens. Okay. Because nobody normal, nobody logical thought they were aliens. We all thought they were military. We all thought they were ours. We just don't know what they're doing and thought we were, might as well ask. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? Let's jump into trying to see somebody here. Sorry. Jeff says, sounds like they found the missing nuke and need a cover story. You know what? If they found it, good. All right, if that's what's good, I don't need to know everything. And they wouldn't want to say, like, there would be a part of them that would want to be like, we found the missing nuke. Like, because they'd want the accolades for that. Look at how good we are. We found the missing nuke. But they wouldn't want to do that because then they'd have to make public that they lost a nuke. And we'd be like, wait, you lose nukes? Hold on. So, yeah, cover story would be needed. Mass hysteria, everybody talking about stupid things. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, hopefully, I am not going to allow myself. I'm not going to allow myself to become obsessed with those things anymore. That was a bad road I went down with those stupid drones. Up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every night, just watching still videos from like the Jersey Shore. What's that? And it turns out it's like on my screen. I'm like, oh, that's not a drone. That was on my screen. All right. What else do we have here? Yeah, we want to talk about this. All right. That's why I was in the chat room. That's right. Let's talk about our friend, Rob Barr. Rob Barr. He in the chat room. Rob is, as I said, Rob and I go way back. Rob and I go all the way back to like the early 90s or whatever. He was a singer in a band that I managed back then. Before I got into radio, I was putting bands together and trying to book shows and all that kind of stuff. Rob would go on to have success in other areas. He's a guy who came back across my path about 10 years ago. When I learned of the work that he was doing with veterans groups and all of that. And I did some work with him on that. That started a whole like second kind of career where I was doing that for a while. He's a good guy. And he's a very talented musician. I've always thought he was incredibly talented. And he's been in bands. He's been in popular bands before, but now he's, kind of, I would think, retired from all that. And he's got a new band in San Francisco. He lives in San Francisco, Bay Area band. And they're really good. And they're really popular. And for some reason, they got like all kinds of mainstream support. So good for Rob. As I say, you don't even realize you got kind of like a dude living a bit of a rock style life, hanging out in the chat room every day. Not that you need to treat him any different, but he's a really good dude. He's one of my favorite people and one of my oldest friends. So I was so pleased when I saw this story. This comes to us from Fox 4. Fox 4. This is this went out to all the Fox stations, but it looks like it was initially from Fox in San Francisco. Here's what it says. Imagine losing everything. Your TV, your bed, your new kitchenette. Now imagine your home, your neighbor's home, your entire neighborhood wiped out in an instant. Where would you go? Who would you turn to for help? Bay Area alternative rock band Witch Kitty is stepping up to provide answers. In a heartfelt effort to support wildfire survivors, the band released a semi-live demo of their powerful song Blue. Fans can download the track for less than a cup of coffee, and all proceeds will go directly to the Wildfire Relief Fund. It says here, the initiative highlights the band's commitment to the community and belief in the power of music to make a difference. We've seen firsthand how devastating these fires can be, said Rob Barr. Look at Rob! Singer and songwriter of Witch Kitty. This is our way of giving back and amplifying the effort of an incredible organization helping Californians rebuild their lives. Donations to the GoFundMe.org's Wildfire Relief Fund 2025 will immediately and directly impact people who have lost everything. The semi-live demo of Blue is now streaming on Spotify, iTunes, and all major platforms. Support wildfire relief efforts, and then it goes on to all kinds of things. But I just wanted to point out, man, I love it when our chat people do the stuff. Look at this. He's out there doing the stuff. And this is not out of character for Rob. As I told you, he created one of probably the most admirable veterans charities. There's a lot of bullshit veterans charities, but I was proud to be associated with him. And so of course now he's using whatever platform he has now with his band Witch Kitty and their popularity. He's now, of course, again, using that platform to do something good for other people. That's our chat room. That's the 70%. That's us. Thank you, Rob. That's awesome. And this comes on the heels of yesterday learning that Nina is busy making gowns for children in cancer wards. That's what's happening in our chat room. You fucking people are awesome. Thank you for being you. And you know what? You see Rob, he may not even be here. May not even be in the chat room today. But you see Rob, just say, hey man, you know what? That's pretty cool. And I'll tell you, he is pretty cool. I don't know what his behavior is like in the chat room because he's funny. But he's a very cool man. He is such a big-hearted dude. So anyway, and so talented. God, this kid alone in a studio, he could reproduce The Wall. I mean, Pink Floyd's The Wall. Just him, just on all the he's super talented. And I'm proud to call him my friend. So good for you, Rob Barr, out there killing it with his band Witch Kitty. By the way, and that's what's so funny. Witch Kitty is his band, but it's like his side hustle. It's not like his real. He's a tech guru. All right, let's keep going. Oh, how about this one? Let's talk about this story. You've probably seen this story all over. I don't know what's happening here. Let's watch this story. Now I know. Look, come on. I just had a nice thing with Rob, and I'm like, oh, isn't that nice? And we can all be nicer. And now I'm going to do a story where some of you might be like, he's being kind of mean. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean in this story. But I do have a take that I do think pushes back against a well-programmed take that people are supposed to respond. Are you guys following this story of the let's call her heavy set rapper in Detroit who is suing Lyft? She's 554 pounds. She's an incredibly large woman. And she's a rapper. I don't know of any note, but she does, so this is all probably great publicity for her career. And, at first I saw this story and I was like, oh yeah, that's that dude who performs on a couch because he's too fat to sing and he uses oxygen right there. Have you seen that guy? Holy cow. Oh. I mean, it's disturbing. It's disturbing. That there was a hip hop star who was so unhealthy that he can't move on stage. He has to be permanently on a couch or a chair, and he has to have his oxygen there so that in between, and he's like 24. Okay, this isn't being mean. This is these are sick people. These are sick people, and I wonder if, they are being treated the way other sick people are treated. Somebody with cancer, is treated different. I don't know. It's not just being heavy. I'm fat, you know. Oh, yeah, I got a lot of friends who are fat. You can be fat, but this is a whole different thing. So she's a 554-pound, big, beautiful woman rapper. And by the way, that's an interesting number, 554, 554, because there's a TV show, right, called My 600-Pound Life. And that show has sort of been normalized. Like there's like, yeah, there's 600-pound people. Like nobody's shocked by that anymore because there's a TV show. So when you hear that this woman is 554 pounds, maybe you go, well, she's not even as bad at, no, stop it. Trust me, there is no difference between somebody who weighs 480 pounds and somebody who weighs 580 pounds. All right? It's the same. Just like there's no difference between a guy who's got $300 million and a guy that's got $400 million. There is no difference. You can do the same things. So 554-pound, big, beautiful woman rapper sues Lyft in Detroit after driver denied her a ride. He says his low-profile tires couldn't handle her weight. So 554 pounds, how would we divide that? Like, let's see, because take 3 people. So let's say just only 2 people. Okay, so let's divide that in half. All right, so what he's saying here, I guess, is that 555, that's 200, 252, whatever. So if he had like whatever, I defiantly yell after giving up on trying to do math in my head, whatever. Oh, that's the rallying call of stupid people everywhere. I don't know. It's like, so 250-pound dudes couldn't ride in the back of the car. He pulls up. She gets in. I'm going to show you her. I think there's an interview. I think we got an interview with her. Hold on. Let me see. She's 554 pounds. She's standing on the curb. He shows up with a car with low-profile tires. I used to have a car with low-profile tires. They pop all the time. They really do. Hit a curb the wrong way, and you're spending another $800. Here's the news story. All right, yeah, we'll just show you the news story, and that way, you can make up your own mind. Yeah, that's it. All right, here, check this out.
Detroit Lions watch party this month when her Blanding tells us she was just trying to get to a Detroit Lions watch party this month when her Lyft rolled up.
As I'm walking, I see him like making faces or whatever. I'm like, oh man.
She already knew.
I can fit in this car.
Believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me.
He told her there's not enough room in his car.
The kicker part was when he started to talk about his tires. I feel like that was a slap in the face. That was like my tires, like.
The driver said his tires could not handle her weight.
For every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car?
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL.
No, I don't never have to order Uber XL.
He apologized, canceled the ride, and left her there. The rapper says she's pretty tough.
I get the money if I fit it makes my food.
Dank DeMoss, as she's known at the mic, is crushed by the whole situation.
I just want them to know, it really hurt my feelings.
It looks like Lyft might be hurting pretty soon, too.
I knew it was illegal, and I knew that it was wrong.
Her attorneys, John Marco and Zach Runyon, say weight is a protected characteristic in Michigan by law.
It would be no different than a driver pulling up and saying, I don't want to have black people in my car, or I don't want to have Christians in my car, or Muslims in my car. It's the same. Under the law, it's the same.
The lawsuit is filed. Since she posted the encounter on social media, other full-figured folks have reached out saying the same thing happened to them.
All right, so there you have it. The story, the sad tale of Dank DeMoss. So she's suing Lyft because she's got it on tape. The Lyft driver saying you can't get in because she's 554 pounds. He used the excuse. This is where I think the problem is. He used the excuse that her weight couldn't be supported by his low-profile tires. And that's the wrong argument for him to have made. That's not the problem with her. The problem is how is she going to get in the back seat? Did you see how wide she is? She can't fly in an airplane. That woman cannot fly in an airplane. She has to buy multiple seats if she does. She can't get in the back seat. She's too wide to fit in the back of his car. And I think that he should be allowed to say, you know what? No. But here's the thing. She's going to make some money because her lawyer's absolutely right. It is against the law to not provide services in Michigan and many other states too. It is against the law to not provide services based on any number of criteria, of which weight is one, because you can't be mean to these people. How about this? How about we as humans don't need a law that tells us we can't be mean to people? How about we just don't be mean to people? She seems... in the interview, she seems like a nice girl. Like when she said it hurt my feelings. The way she said it, I was like, oh, that's pretty authentic. She wasn't in the interview like, I'd call me fat, I ain't fat. No, I mean, so of course you have compassion, but there's something extremely unhealthy about her. And I hope that she, starts to work on that. Because she seems to be a talented young woman who also seems to be nice. She was nice in that interview. That's my takeaway. She seemed, but she's going to get paid. She's going to get paid, man, because Lyft is a huge company. There is a man working for Lyft saying on tape that he's not giving her a ride specifically for weight issues. That is against the law. That is a violation of her civil rights. Lyft is never going to let that go to court. They're going to settle for a pretty nice chunk of change. Probably $1 million. I bet she gets $1 million out of that. That's pretty good. But I get it, man. I get this is a problem with the gig economy. We've got individuals using their own things on behalf of a major corporation, right? Lyft doesn't buy a Lyft driver a car. No. So, if Lyft did buy the Lyft driver's car, then maybe you'd have a different situation. Where the dude would be like, yeah, I don't care. Come on, get in. It's a company car. It's not mine. But we have this new gig economy, again, where you've got independent contractors, freelancers. I mean, we call it the gig economy, and I work for Lyft. No, you don't. Yeah, you're a part-time guy. You're making them all billionaires, and you're running your car into the ground. That's what it is. So we've never been here before. So these laws are terrible. Lyft is on the hook for this because he is working. He is working for Lyft, and yet he is not adhering to Lyft's standards, the legally mandated standards that Lyft must adhere to. He is not adhering to those because it's his car that's going to get the wear and tear. This is a very interesting and complicated situation, so we'll see. I don't know, man. It's like you can't get in here because you're smelly. I don't want you stinking up my car. Cab drivers never gave a crap about that because the cab wasn't their car. I don't know. All right, so there you go. There's that story. Guys, I think that's it. I think we're going to end it there. We've done a pretty full show today. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Once again, I want to thank the executive producer of today's show, the always entertaining and always welcome Barney the Great. Thank you so much. If you want to be the executive producer tomorrow, all you got to do is be the big tipper today. So I'll give you the opportunity to do that now. I just heard a cat. Go, meow. We don't have a cat. I don't know what that's about. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, right? More like, follow, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. But number one, don't be dicks to anybody today. Just, work on that. I'm going to be cool today. I'm going to be the coolest guy in my office today. I'm not going to cause a problem. I'm not going to criticize anybody. I'm going to be quick with a joke and a light of your smoke. Back tomorrow at noon. I'm Pugs. This is The Rant. Kelly Moore Memorial Studio on RadioMisfits.com.